Hey, Peter.
Hello, Jackson.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Ooh. We got the different peas today. We got the peacock and
Yeah.
the pyramids.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh. So how
Yeah.
are you doing, Peter? What's going on in your world?
Well, glad you asked because today I start La Dieta.
Ooh. I'm
Yes.
curious to hear more.
Yeah. So 3 weeks from now, I'm just doing a 3 week dieta. I'm gonna come out your way for a ceremony. And so this morning I've got decaf in my cup. Yeah. And boy, man, every once in a while I take a break from coffee. I know you're not a coffee drinker, and I can't stand listening to people talk about their quitting coffee and starting coffee and trying different things. And it's like people that talk about smoking. Oh, I quit smoking. Like, no, you didn't. You're still, yeah. So, I hate being a decaf person today, but I'm amazed. I'm shocked at how dependent my nervous system has become on coffee.
Hmm.
Because right now I feel like I'm swimming through a fog, you know?
Hmm. I
Yeah,
hear that.
yeah. And there's an emotional component to it, right? There's a little bit of a comfort there where I get that reward, that dopamine, and that comfort of, waking up in the van for a year. And the only thing that would get me out of my little cocoon back there when I was just living in the van on a cold morning was the thought of, okay, if I get up, I can make some coffee and everything will be okay. My life will be okay. My emotions will be okay. It's this, yeah, it's so surprising how our culture has put so much of their heart attached to coffee. Like people get like they cry. People cry if they can't have coffee. It happens. you know?
Yeah. There's
You
there's
know.
so many dedicated shops dedicated to just coffee.
Yeah, it destroys people's lives. It completely falls apart if their ritual gets interrupted, you know?
Hmm. Do you think most people realize how dependent they are on it?
I think so. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I love how I feel after I've gone a week or two not having any. And then when you have that first one after waiting, oh, it's like it's a psychedelic experience. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's very powerful. So I'm looking forward to that and looking forward to clearing out my body a little bit. I'm a fairly indulgent person. I like rich foods. I like a wide variety of foods. And yeah, it's gonna be tough today. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So what different foods like are you following the one where like say are you allowed to eat like any meat at all or is it completely
Well,
vegetarian?
well, I'm probably not going to eat meat. I don't think there's anything wrong with having chicken, but I just would like to go as bare and simple and clean as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So probably just fit eggs and rice and vegetables. That's about it. And like
Hmm.
no oils or no salts or anything, just plain.
Are you gonna have fruits as well?
Oh, of course, yeah, fruits. This will
Yeah.
be my chance to get back into fruit because I don't usually eat fruit very often.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I hear you.
yeah, yeah,
Nice. I'm excited
yeah.
for you. Dieting it's a very big process, but it can be
Uh,
very, very well worth it.
yeah, yeah. So the first day, no coffee and no nice big breakfast is eh,
Mhm.
not fun.
I hear you.
As I drink my friggin' Starbucks decaf. You know how hard it is to find a decaf?
Really? Like a good decaf or just a decaf?
Well, the thing is they don't want to have a make a whole big pot of it.
Yes.
So if you want to go cheap, you can't really because most places they say, oh well, we've got beans, we can make you a decaf espresso, but we can won't just
Mm,
pour you like a just Band-Aid coffee, just fill it up, you know. So
I
that was
hear
a little
you.
tricky. Yeah. So I got my pour over. Starbucks has a pour over, and the good cafe just has the fancy. Like, here's the thing: is I'm not going to pay top price for a coffee drink with no coffee in it. It's like going to the bar and buying an alcohol-free drink for the same price as a booze drink. And,
Yeah.
it's not the money. It's like,
It's
like
like, what are you doing with that much?
yeah, it's missing something, so it should be cheaper. But I've got a funny way of rating the value of things. So,
I
but
hear you.
speaking about the value of things, I got a real cool story about finding some free money. But tell me how you're doing.
Good. Thank you, Peter. I'm excited to hear your story. But yeah, I've been good. Life has been, it's been quite busy for me as of lately. What it's
Yeah.
been like is like between like the Nature's Fair and like the new job at the BioShack, I've been working about 6 days a
Oh,
week.
yeah.
So it's been very full. It's been
Mm,
very full, but it's been a good learning opportunity. And and one thing that I've learned through this is I need more like alone time or more time for myself. That was something that really came to me last week where it was like, okay, you gotta slow down a little bit. You gotta take some time because it was like I was going, 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 and then on my days off, I was just had so many plans as well too, and it was great. It's like really fulfilling for me. It was like you got to take a step back a little bit. So that's been one thing that's been happening. It's been a good time. Like I've been enjoying what I've been doing and like remembering like I get to versus I have to. And that's been a big thing for like just even being at the work environment.
mm,
But even like going forward, I've been able to make changes so that I'm not going to be that busy, like taking down my hours a little bit, so I'm only going to be 5 days a week, and then going from there and just seeing like where that flows from. And then I've also been getting back into dance again. I don't know if you knew, but I used to, well, I still do. I dance salsa, bachata, and kizomba dance.
mm,
And I hadn't danced in like quite a few months. And the one thing that really tore me apart, so well, there's potentially no, there's a concert for Xavier Rudd happening in Vancouver.
mm.
And that
Yeah.
same weekend there's a Kizomba festival that I have a ticket to. And I was this close to selling it, being like, I'm just gonna say no dance and just go into that.
No, 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 no. Go to the dance.
But the thing, that's what I did. Like I got invited to a dance event and oh man, I fell again. I fell for it and it's really nice. I'm super excited for that. And so that's like now I've started to go and this month I'm going to be taking lessons for it.
Mm.
So that way when the festival comes, I'll be all practiced up and ready to go.
What about a partner?
So what it is for this event is what they do is they make it so that way that when they sell passes, there should be an even number of leads and follows. And like so an even number of guys and girls.
Mm,
So like for instance when like Kizomba is a partner dance. And
mm,
you pretty much only dance it with a partner. And they sell like follow passes and lead passes, or you can get one together between two people.
mm,
And they just basically when they sell the tickets, the way they make sure is that way they evenly distribute it so that way that the ratio is good. So that way like there's not going to be like too many follows or too many leads. There's usually a lot of like too many follows, which happens most of the time. Like they've recently put a cap on their ticket for follows until they can sell more lead tickets, just so that a bunch of people aren't waiting around for dances.
You're leading?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's oh man, it's such a beautiful and fun dance. It can be quite a sensual one, but it is also one where like you really are able to feel the connection between two people. Like
Mm,
for instance, when you first make contact with each other, with Kizomba, you'll dance like probably one song at like a minimum usually to like you can dance like 3+ songs together. And as it kind of goes on, you're able to like because it's a slower dance, it's not very flashy. It can be a little bit, but it's a much slower dance. So because of that, like you're slowly building your connection from like the start of the dance to the next song to the next song. And then you can tell like between you and the other person kind of how it's going. And that's something that I've really enjoyed is you can really like they talk about energy like it can be a spiritual like energetic experience because you can feel each other so strongly and you can't hide like your feelings. You can't hide that because it's right there like no matter how you're feeling, you and your partner are both gonna feel it.
Mm.
And it's been a beautiful thing. It's one of the things too is it's allowed me to get in touch with like that central aspect of myself again, where I have like an outlet to express it, an outlet to express that creative energy. And that's been something that's been really nice in my life again.
Mm. Yeah, that's great. That makes me want to try that. I wonder how conversation with the dance partner, like if you take a round out and go have a beverage and talk to each other between dances. I wonder how often the energy that you share physically in the dance um, lines up with the ability to have a conversation, you know? Because
Mm.
I think I know I've noticed that some couples that dance really well together, they've got nothing to talk about. And in everyday life, they're just like complete strangers, but when they dance together, they dance really well. I've seen that happen.
Hmm.
So I wonder how much correlation or relation or any whatever the word is to the energy you share dancing with someone, if that is really hot and really working and really compatible and harmonizing. Um, like if you then you go have trying to have a conversation and it's super clunky. I wonder if that like does that happen?
It can depend on person to person or like
Yeah,
dance to dance. Like there's
yeah.
I can understand that because some people they're just better at dancing and like physically expressing themselves than like emotionally or like being able to verbally express
Mm,
themselves.
right.
Like sometimes after a dance, like kind of what usually happens is you'll dance a few songs or maybe just one song. You'll hug or you'll give a double high five. You'll say thank you. Sometimes there's conversation that happens, especially if it's towards the end of the night.
Mhm.
Usually there's some conversation. And and it's interesting. Sometimes it's like it's so interesting. Like when you really feel the connection, sometimes like you're able to take that into the conversation and go from there. But then other times it's I don't know, like you can have great dances with people and it can be awesome. But then sometimes you just give them a hug and say thank you and then it just right on to the next dance as well.
Mhm.
But that is one thing. I will admit I haven't been in the dance scene long enough to really like done this a lot or but it's something that I can understand where you're coming from.
Mm,
I can definitely hear where you're coming from where it's like the connection's great, but then you go to talk and it's like, "Hey,
mm.
hey, that was
Yeah.
nice."
Yeah. I think that's probably pretty common.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if society and the way we're raised and different cultures and all that um, is a separate thing than what our spirit is, or what our soul is, or what our energy is. You know, like some people may be in their heads and thinking they're some other person that talks this way and thinks that way and believes this thing and then but when they dance a different person comes out. I
Hmm.
think maybe there's two people and some people have those parts of themselves integrated and blended and are aware of both, and I think maybe others are like, what's that, something in the streets, something in the sheets kind of thing, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
Yeah, or the Japanese thing of the daytime face and the nighttime face, like the face you show the public and then the face you have for your partner at home, or,
Yeah, I hear that. It's so interesting to even see like how that can happen, or even just in different environments, how you're able to show up and how you're able even to express yourself. That's been an interesting one even for me. It's just in different environments, like I'm able to be more myself, or like I'm able to show this part of myself, or I'm able to show up fully in this environment. But say in this environment, I'm able to show up like 60% or 70%, but that other 30% is I just can't quite touch,
yeah,
or I'm not quite able to.
yeah,
Oh yeah, it's interesting how that comes. One thing is it's funny. I read a quote right before this from our friend Rick, good old Rick Rubin. It
yeah.
says, like when you talked about society, it says we are all born as artists. However, society tries as hard as it can to pull it out of us.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's even where that can come from as well. Like
Yeah,
it tries to take away your true nature to make you be
yeah,
like fit in, like
yeah.
fit in whatever that means.
It tries to take away your salsa dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's awesome. So Peter, I'm curious to hear your story.
Well, this it kind of dovetails or segues a little bit into what you were just saying about the personality and the self, and how being ourselves, what part of ourselves and what percentage. Um, I'm getting ready to have a public funeral for my old self.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been trying to do that for a long time. And the corpse of my past, which is attached to the uh, pseudo street cred and machismo and, validation of the graffiti name that I had for, almost around 30 years, since the mid 90s, this identity that I've built that was a mask. It was a very cool looking mask. It was a mask that people thought was very cool. But it wasn't, it was a slice of me. It was a good percentage of me, but um, tinted and refracted into a prism of distortion, some sort of, it was like taking that divine spark of my creativity, and what my real message and purpose is, and um, running it through this filter of the graffiti culture. And so through that, the last 30 years, like if I didn't have that, I don't know, like if where I'd be, um, it kept me, it being who like following this stray crazy road of chaos and uncertainty and street shit. So it kept me from falling into the mainstream and getting locked in to that, having the artist pulled out of me, or the radical pulled out of me, and following the rules and going to school and being in a little box and maybe having a successful, stable life. So this mask that I ran that spark of divine creativity through, it got me, like, here I am, like, still a freak, still a fucking anomaly, still super special. Whoa. Um, but now, because of our course, because of our teacher, because of breath work, because of um, this work we're doing on awakening, um, the self, and becoming a leader, I can no longer uh, move forward and be this, like you were saying, the leaders and followers. I can no longer carry on this dance of mine, this chaotic salsa, this sabotage salsa of my life, um, without becoming a leader, the leader of the dance, right? I've been kind of oscillating, flip flopping. being a follower of this scene, or what people say is cool or masculine, or yo, you got to do this to get people to like you, or you have to paint this way or paint that wall, or it has to be illegal, and then you have to do all this, and you got to hang out with these people, like all this bullshit. And so that guy, I've been trying to kill him for a while, but he keeps coming back like a cockroach. Every time I go, that's it. I'm ready to be 100% authentic without following anyone else's code. Just follow my code. Um, I'll go to another part of the world, and it's so easy to go, oh, you're part of that crew. We've heard of your crew. Yeah, you're cool. And then I'll pull that old ID out and
Mm.
use that card, instead of going, no, I am just me. I am a brand new thing. Oh, like in Japan. Oh, graffiti. American graffiti. Oh, cool, cool. Train. Like I no longer can go there and pretend that I'm this cool guy from North America that has been part of the graffiti scene for, since the 90s. Like that
Mm.
check doesn't cash anymore at all. And so what am I? It's like, so I'm going to have a public funeral for this. And this course we're doing, our teacher has really been pushing the envelope with the layers of and spiral of ascension, where we use tools such as physical tools for the physical stuff, and then breath work for the emotional, and as we spiral up, we go through those layers of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Or no, I buggered it up, Jackson. It's physical, emotional, then mental, and then spiritual. So I'm
Mm.
working on going up these layers, shedding these old things that hold me back. And it's become very evident now that I've got to fully have an official funeral for this old part of me.
Mm.
And we've been studying this book, some channeling stuff from the Ra. you know, you, Ra, you know, the energy, or uh, character, or identity, cosmic and otherwise, known as Ra, that the Egyptians, celebrate in their culture. So this book, The Law of One, uh, they're talking about a lot of these teachings, and the Paul Selig work of the I am the word, using, whether or not you believe in people channeling or not, if you read the teachings that they're writing as a channel of Ra or whatever other energies in the universe, they're saying that um, that I'm interpreting it as I need to let go of old identities, old labels that I've attached myself to feel safe and to feel loved. And that's been my container. And now that container's cracking and broken, and there's new things coming out. And here's the trippy story. So I love synchronicities, and I love how synchronicities are like when the internal world merges with the external world of the environment, and we find out that there's some connection there going on. And so right after I spent the whole morning listening to these channelings from Ra and the Law of One, I was really thinking about that upward spiral. And I was sewing this piece that has a pyramid on it, and thinking about that. and Egyptian stuff. I went into the square in the neighborhood I'm from, Fernwood in Victoria. There's a little Fernwood Square, Belfry Theater, and it's surrounded by stages. That's another really cool thing that's been happening is I'm surrounded by stages. There's a
Mm.
theater, an old-fashioned theater. Um, and then across the street, there's a pub with a stage, and then across the other corner, there's a community center with a stage, and so this little intersection of Fernwood, it's all stages, and I'm feeling called. I'm feeling the curtain call, Jackson. I must go to the stage, and this is my chance. So I went to the square, and people like to leave in this gazebo. They leave free piles in Victoria. Remember, we were talking about free piles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so every day you can go to the Fernwood Square and the gazebo, and there'll be God knows what you'll find. And so this lovely morning yesterday, I stepped out with a head full of dreams and raw channelings and upward spirals and metaphysical transformations and awakening the self to the true leadership that we're meant to have, I believe. Um, and there was this book. Now, this book it might be a complete just gibberish, like silliness, um, a few grains of truth, and the rest just like crackpot, you know, woo woo weirdo, you name it, right? Um, but I'll show it to you. Here it is.
Oh, Pyramid Truth Gateway Universe. Wow.
Yeah, so there's that upward spiral going through the energy centers, right?
Wow.
The root spiraling up.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're studying that, the chakras and the energy centers, and, releasing, working through any blockages so that we can progress upwards with our, all our breath work and movement and awareness. And so this is pretty darn like as just a picture to see. Even if the book
Mm-hmm.
is nonsense, just to find this, like
Yeah.
yeah, little UFOs and stuff, right? Um, so I'm taking the opportunity to put aside all of my embarrassed, judgy, skeptical negativity. I'm letting all that go, and I'm saying, like Pascal's wager, what if I let myself believe in everything? Like everything goes. What if I do that? Will that change the field of belief around me so that more things can be true? Can I make things true by the strength of my belief?
Mm.
And of course, I'm not going to make any dangerous life decisions. I have made bad financial decisions when I thought the signs were all there, but and maybe I'm just looking at those in the short term, small lens, not the big lens. Maybe I have made the right decisions, but I'm not going to start like doing crazy shit saying the pyramids told me, right? Don't worry. don't, don't worry. But I am going to experiment with just believing everything. If it comes into my field and it's aligned with what I'm studying and it feels like a synchronicity, I'm letting it in. I'm going to believe. And then, as soon as I found this, um, there was also a pair of white linen pants. And the last ceremony I was at, they said, please wear white if you can. I don't know if you've had to do that in your,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I like that. I love a dress up party. So I see these white linen pants, and I says, "Well, sure, that would be nice for the ceremony." Pardon me. So I grab the pants, off I go. I get home. Oh, what's before I throw them in the wash? I look in the pockets. What do you think's in the pockets?
I'm gonna take a wild guess.
Wow.
It's either crystals or mushrooms, maybe.
Yeah, money.
Oh, what? Money.
Yeah. $45.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And a pack of matches from the cigar shop. So
Okay.
yeah, so there you go. 45 degrees. Um and now I'm reading this. I was thinking 45. Oh, the number has to mean something, Jackson. It has to mean something. What is 40? And then immediately I thought of angles, like a 45-degree angle.
Hmm.
And then the first thing that they're talking about in this book, it's all about angles and how the pyramids were used or put here as partially record keepers of units of time, measuring time and blah 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 blah. So there right away I'm already reading about 45-degree angles with my $45. Yeah. So that's
Wow.
my story. And it's kind of like the ceremony coming up, the upward spiral, the raw, and the faith that
Yeah.
yeah.
So beautiful when you tune into everything. And like you said, let the internal represent the no, let the internal represent the external.
Mm,
And
mm,
it sounds
mm.
like you're really embodying that. And
Oh
I
yeah.
and I love to hear you're like, well, what if I just allow myself to believe?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
just turn off that side that says no, no, no. What if I just allow myself to go dive in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I think that the side that says no, 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 I think that's the ego trying to do what our teacher has been saying about how the ego is an extension of the nervous system, a creation of
hmm.
the nervous system that's job is to protect us. And so I think it's saying no, 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 because it's trying to protect me from making a fool of myself. Right? Like, so I respect that. I do the somatic work. I see you over there, ego. I know you're trying to protect me. I love you, and it's okay. What if you just allow me to believe? The
Yeah.
ego. And it's like, "Ugh." So we're
Yeah.
gonna calm it down. We're gonna love it.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing to just be able to like be like, I see you, but I'm gonna allow you to sit at the door. You can sit at the
Yeah,
door and I'm gonna walk in. Whatever
yeah.
happens from there, happens from there. But
Mhm.
that was that's such a beautiful way to even like to sit with that and just to see and like it's cool that you're able even to like really like look into it and allow it to flow and like see within the meaning. Like that's such a beautiful thing.
Mm. It's
What
fun too.
do you ever do you take that mindset into ceremony?
Well, I've only been to one ceremony.
What about like say when you do your own ceremonies?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So it's a capital ceremony, C ceremony, or yeah, yeah, right. So yeah. Uh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the muscle that I'm working on strengthening is carrying that openness and receptivity to all of the obvious signs that are always just being. Can you imagine if you were one of these entities or guides that was constantly like following me around, trying to like giving obvious signs, and I'm keep missing them year after year? How that would feel for them? Like, oh, yeah, how did you do this year? Well, he saw one of them out of 365 signs I gave him, and he found one. So yeah, I'm definitely carrying that into the ceremony. Yeah, and
Hmm.
but then the other side of that coin is that I get really excited. The imagination gets really activated, and
Hmm.
so I need to keep that quiet and calm to stay on the actual authentic um, sign or transmission or download or insight and not start embellishing it and making it into my own art project.
Hmm. I hear
Yeah.
that. I
Mm.
hear that. Man, that's such a powerful thing, and it's great that you're able to even hear the call and you're accepting it too. Because so many times that call is there, but we're like, oh, like
Yeah,
when you like even when you talk about the words public funeral, that probably your nervous system might get a little nervous,
yeah.
and just being able to hear that and be like, I'm accepting that call, like I'm accepting like this is what I'm supposed to do now. And that's a great thing that you're really able to just dive into it and just allow yourself
Mhm.
to swim within and just allow the things to come out to come out.
Oh, I just realized I should do it on the solar eclipse. What's the date
Oh,
today? It's the sixth
uh,
today?
let me check real quick. Oh, it's the 5th.
Fifth. Okay, yeah. So on the eighth, there's a solar eclipse.
Oh, that could
Right.
be powerful.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh
I'm
man.
gonna make a poster for it and everything.
Oh man. Are
Yeah.
you gonna do it on a stage?
I'm gonna do it in Fernwood Square on the in the gazebo where the free pile is, which is kind
Wow.
of like the whole stage. Yeah, and I'll film it too.
Wow. That'll
Yeah,
be
I have to
powerful.
put a suit on and get some flowers. I have to go pick a bunch of wildflowers or daffodils or something.
Make a little flower crown for your
Yeah,
crown chakra.
yeah,
Allow it
yeah,
to unlock.
yeah. Should I make a coffin? That's a bit morbid.
Do you feel the need to?
Mm. Well, there's got to be somewhere for the body, even if we don't
Hmm.
see the body. So
Wait.
I'll
What
make it
if
out of.
you what if you okay. This is something. What if you put the coffin or the body in the free bin?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I can. Yeah,
I don't,
I'll
I
make
don't
it.
I don't know if that's in aligned with you, but I feel
Yeah,
like that's
oh,
in
absolutely.
synchronicity.
Yeah, yeah,
Huh, wow. That's
yeah.
such a powerful process to be able to like allow yourself that death and rebirth.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I'm also
man,
gonna. Yeah. Go
oh, go
ahead.
on.
I'm also going to axe my Instagram.
Your Skuzzabot?
Well, I'm going to keep the account, but I'm going to just take. So there'll be one sample of each kind of art. Like one landscape painting, one portrait, one graffiti piece, and it'll just be like a few rows of pictures. Just this is what I can do. I'm not showing you everything. I'm not like I don't need to have like, oh, more, more, more. I'm just going to completely cut it right down and close that kind of no more adding more and more and more and more art.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
I hear that.
just focus on doing breath work with people, organizing events and getting on a stage. I still don't know what the heck I'm going to do on a stage, but some sort of performance art. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's incredible. That sounds awesome, Peter.
Thanks. I'm really excited.
I'm excited for you. I think that's a beautiful thing. Uh, do you know when you're coming to Kelowna again?
Yeah, I'm leaving on the 20th. I'll be driving on the 20th.
Okay, let me just
So
check my
I
calendar.
I should be there on the 22nd.
Do you wanna on the 21st, do you wanna do an instruction at Cold Dip Kelowna?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you'd like to do some breath or like some breath and art or whatever you feel like that would be a great addition before we go into the water.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. Sweet.
Yeah.
That
I'm
that
at
way it can even
the
be like a part of a stage as well.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. Yeah.
Sure, sure. That
Yeah.
sounds good. But
Right on.
yeah, I'm excited for you, Peter. That's such a big and powerful time to go within that. And that's one thing that like even segueing into like there's certain times when you get those like for instance when you get that sign there's like a lot of times there's a spark that has to happen for you to realize that sign is there because you
Mm.
can't just keep going upon your normal day life and just see, like and then all of a sudden synchronicities will be there but you don't really see them until there's like that spark or that change or that flipping of a switch, which kind of allows you to bring that into your awareness.
Mhm.
So, so I guess like with both of us, it's just been a big thing as our breathwork course. Our breathwork course has really flipped a switch on us, has really
Yeah.
allowed us to look at things a little bit differently, has allowed
Mhm.
us to really just become aware of the signs and synchronicities. Would you say with that, would you say that there was like a clear, like even like with like this story and like your public funeral and everything, was there like a spark that was like a final like last straw or like a thing that really made you fully index into it? Because I know you were
Uh,
talking about the synchronicities, but was there
yeah.
something that was like, I need to do this, like this is,
Yeah.
or was it just more when you aligned?
Yeah. No, it was an embodying experience that I had the 3 or 4 days ago. I went to a hip hop show on Salt Spring Island,
Hmm.
and the people there I hadn't seen perform for a decade, and they're from the old scene that I was part of. And so when I showed up there as the new me, they saw me as the old me. And I went into this really, really dark place. And even though I had a good time and supported the crowd and was at the show and was present, I was embodying the death. I was dying
Hmm.
inside. So that event, and that just like came out of nowhere. I was feeling fine. As soon as I got there, all of a sudden it hit me, just like this dark fucking energy came over me, and I just sat with it. I went down to the beach and went like, "Oh my God, what the fuck am I gonna do?" And then I just went back to the show, and instead of doing my art performance and painting, I just set up my tent and let everyone hang out in it, and just stood around and just held this awful fucking feeling. It was dark. And that's when I realized, okay, this old part of me I'm being seen in this old way, and this is how it's feeling. I need to like I need to let this go, this old me, because he's still here and it's in me. And that so
Hmm.
that was the spark. That was the event that really brought it clear.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't move forward with this corpse on me. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta
How
shed
about
it.
how about you? Was there any interesting little events that have happened recently that have sparked a change
Good
or
question. Thanks for asking. So yeah, I have had some.
Mhm.
So I've had some different ones. One of the dance has actually been a big one. I think one of the reasons like why I'm so into dance is because there is a part of myself, like what happened is there was a period of time where there was this girl and I was really into her and we were hanging out and things were going in a great direction and I started to really get my shit together. And I was
Mhm.
like I felt like I had a good level, but I was really taking it to the next level. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is what I want. This is what I'm trying to embody. And all of
Mhm.
a sudden it was like it went from one thing to there was a text sending that the feelings was not reciprocal. And I was like, whoa. And then all of the old patterns and habits and everything just piled on top of that and tried to hide that feeling and tried to repress it and tried to get it away. And I was like, fuck, what do I do? And it led me into that didn't lead me into a bad spiral, but I think the negative patterns trying to trying like not wanting to feel the emotion. Like I
Mhm.
think I felt it, but I don't think I processed it. Like I
Mhm.
think I said I see you, but I don't think I allowed it to be within me and felt through it. And I feel like even now I'm still in that process. But one of the things happened is afterwards, like because of those bad habits, my mental health started to suffer. I
Oh.
like one of the things that happened is I was just going to bed later. I wasn't getting my morning routine in. I was still withholding like a good standing like for other people, but like within I just wasn't doing very well because my internal world was not balanced. And one of
Mm,
the things that was a really big spark is like it was so bad that I had one breakdown in particular where it was just big, it was shouty, it was emotional, it was huge, and it was just big and there and loud. And I was in my car and I was like, God, please help me.
mm,
Because I was like, I felt like I just needed that extra support. Like
mm.
God, the universe, or whatever, but I was like, God, just please help me.
Yeah.
and and then lo and behold, that's when like the different signs can start to pop up again. And that's when like I randomly just got invited to a Kizomba event. And one of the things that was so nice for that is it allowed me to be with my sexual energy again. Because it felt like after that event that happened is I had to repress any sexual energy I had. I had to let it out. I couldn't let it be present. And it was just crushing to my soul. And
Mm.
this was a way that it finally gave me an outlet. Like, it's not saying that when I'm dancing, I'm like going and just grinding on people or whatever. But it gives me an outlet to just like, for instance, when I'm leading, I can just lead in a creatively expressive way. I can sit with that sensual energy in myself. It's not saying like you have to fully act out on it, but you can allow it to be present there, and you can lean into it, and you can lean into the connection. You're not forcing it on others, but if it's two consenting adults and you can, and you're both feeling the same way and you're both feeling like you're wanting to go down that road, you can.
Mm.
However, it just gives me an outlet to just put that. Like it felt like for so long I was just repressed. Like in my core four was not balanced. Like that part of my core four was just devastated. And that allowed me to even be able to show up, like even be able to show up as a sexual being in some aspect. Like I know there's some spaces, like for instance the cold dips, absolutely no sexual thoughts, clear and purity of mind. I'm there of service. I'm there to just help and be of service and to just help make a great experience. And I have those spaces where I make sure I'm in that headspace. But I think it is also very important to have those headspace where I'm able to express that side of myself, because everyone has it and it's so present, and you can transmute it. But the thing is you need to have different ways to like express it or to let it out. And that was a really big tool it was like that spark. And now I just want, and that I would say that happened last week. The event happened not last weekend, but the weekend before that. And that was a really big thing. Like I went from hadn't danced in like 3 months to I danced 3 times in 4 days.
Mm.
And that was like, I really want this part of myself to be with me.
Mm.
And that was something. And that was so healing. Just being able to have that outlet. Like, man, it was something that I'd been connected with in the past, but through the breath work and everything, I was like, well, I got to stay really focused with breath work. I don't think I should really put much time into it. But this showed how like for me right now, it's a very important thing for me to be able to even have that outlet. And
Mm.
just even I'm even seeking other ways to like be able to like express that energy. Like I recently went and I went on one of the dating apps, and I've been going from there and just finding like healthy outlets to even like express myself in that way. Because for me, I've had a battle with really trying to repress it. Like I just feel like it can't be present. It shouldn't be present. It's a bad thing, Jackson, if you bring that energy, and you need to be as pure as possible, as wholesome as possible. I think that's true, and I think there's a truth within that. However, I do think, at least for myself and for that part of myself, I need to be able to have outlets where I can express that. So
Mm.
that has been something that's been really big lately. It's just like it's not like I'm trying to like put that energy out on other people, but just even have a time where like there can be playful, there can be fun, there can be the possibility of that, but just allowing it to be like a fun dance, allowing it to be a connected dance. A lot like just even having a connection with a female in that way can just be so nice. Like it's not saying nothing happens, we're just dancing, but just being able to like feel a connection and like feel a reciprocal energy. It feels really nice.
Yeah, there's also the ability with art, the artistic license. You can get away with a lot if it's art. You know,
Hmm.
people say things in music that you could never get away with saying in public, right? And you'll have a bunch of um, old ladies at a rec center doing some, like Zumba class to like some gangster rap, and it's fine. Like they can say all the swear words, talk about drugs and sex, and grandma doesn't mind. Nana doesn't mind. Your mom's like, "Oh, that was a good song. You listen, mom?" So with dance, I guess maybe this is a silly reference, but you can have that freedom to express yourself sexually, and it's just dance. It's just art. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I could feel his fucking something in his pocket. Like whatever happens in the dance is just in that container of art, and it has that eternal protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the nice thing. And like you can feel the other person's energy as well. Like there's obviously some people where it's like nowhere near that. And I don't think that's the default option to go into. Like it's not like that's the end goal with every dance.
Yeah.
But it's like you feel into the dance and every dance is a little different. Just like
Yeah.
every song and every art form. Well, I guess
Yeah.
dance is a form of art.
And as Shakira says, these hips don't lie, right? Like, well, we were talking and it was awkward, and I don't think she was really wanted to hang out with me, but then we danced and her hips started telling me the truth. I don't.
So So
Yep.
yeah. So
Yep.
that's been that I appreciate you asking the question. So that's been a big spark. It's brought a lot of like I'll almost call it color in my life.
Mm,
It's like life went from being kind of gray for a while to
yeah.
now I'm able to see the color again. And I'm able to
Hmm.
like the spark like ignited and like allowed like the vibrancy to come back.
Hmm. Great.
So that's
Yeah.
very, very present and alive within me right now.
Awesome.
So yeah, so that's been fun.
Uh,
Let's see what else. What else? What else to talk about? What is the contents in the book been like?
I've only got through the first chapter. It's about angles.
Hmm, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But this law of one raw stuff is really neat. Um, yeah, that it's I can't even put words to it. I'll just ruin it. Yeah,
Hmm, I hear
yeah.
you.
But it did make me think of just how funny that world is of New Age conspiracies and Bigfoot and aliens and what's some other stuff like X-Files kind of stuff.
Like
Lizard people.
ghosts?
Yeah, 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 or
What's some other
uh,
ones?
yeah,
Um,
or
uh,
like yeah, yeah,
there's so much with it too. Oh man, I love talking to people when like no judgment, but just even hearing them out. Like and they just go on their long thing
yeah.
and they believe it. And it's like, okay, cool. Like bring it on. Like let's hear it. And just being able to put the judgy part at the door and just hear it out.
I bet you're probably not allowed to talk about this, but you're at the health food store that you work at.
Hmm.
I bet there's some interesting conversations there.
You know what? It's
Mm,
depend since I'm depending on the department, since the bistro is pretty fast and
mm,
it's like pretty like people come in and out. Yeah, like you get a little taster of it. You get some splashes. that
Hmm.
come along. But if you go into vitamins department or
Hmm.
grocery or
Yeah.
produce, vitamins, I'll say vitamins is the real is where the real where the like the big part of that comes through. Like
Uh,
especially people come to the vitamins department and they have this thing that's happening and they're like they're trying to find their cure with like a specific vitamin. Like
hmm.
they want you to save them with their vitamin.
Yeah.
Or they just even are able to they just share all their views. Because that's the thing, the vitamins department, it's pretty chill. You just got
Hmm.
to get the vitamins from the back and put it on the shelf and help people know what the type of vitamins are.
Hmm.
But it's like the bistro department. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a
Hmm.
lot of things like and it's just very like the volume of people that come through are very high, but and like the duration of the like the of the length of time you're helping people, it's very short. It's maybe like average person is like 15 to 30 seconds. You
Hmm.
basically just get their order, you get their name for their order,
Hmm.
you make it, you put it on the counter for them. You say thank you, have a great day, and that's kind of it. But some occasionally you get some people who want to talk. Or the thing is when people start asking for the ingredients,
Hmm.
that's when it starts coming up.
That's when shit gets real.
Yeah. Or they
Yeah.
ask the ingredients for like four different things.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hmm.
So it's interesting. I haven't dove into that world a ton. Like I don't know a lot about it, like truth be told. But I had an old boss who really loved to talk about it. I don't even remember a lot of the stuff he said, but just hearing him talk, he just go on and I just listen and just hear him talk about the different things.
Hmm. Crystal skulls. I remember that one. You know, like the History Channel stuff. You know, the History Channel.
I've watched some of the content. I haven't heard of the Crystal Skulls, but I've watched a lot of the History Channel content.
Right. Well, apparently there's crystal skulls that have um, all this information stored in them, and they need a certain amount. It's like Indiana Jones kind of shit, and you have to get a certain number of them all together, and then have some key to open them, and then there's all this ancient wisdom. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Yeah,
That's
but
cool.
History Channel is full of really neat stuff like that. All the different races of aliens that have lived here and engineered us, and uh, yeah, it's just fun to go down that and tickle your imagination.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's fun to just allow it to see it be. Or well, you know what that reminds me of, honestly? That's like that's like adulthood version. Okay, I don't want to put comparisons, but the way that I would like if I was to say is, you know how like it gives something people to believe in, it gives them some hope, some
Oh yeah,
faith.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
like when like kids with Santa Claus or kids
yeah.
with the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy, it's like
Hmm.
they get so excited
Hmm.
and like the thought just lingers in their mind of like what could the Easter Bunny look like? Like
Hmm.
what would he look like as he's hopping around hiding all these chocolate eggs?
Yeah, yeah.
Like how does he go to like and it just allows kids that imagination and that space to just sit with it. And it's
Hmm.
like there could even be some truth like there's a little bit of truth to everything. Like it's not saying that everything is like completely has complete truth, but it's
Mm.
like what if you just allowed it? What if you just allowed yourself to sit with it? Kind of like you were saying earlier. Like I'm going to leave this judgmental, logical or whatever side at the door. And what happens if I just listen,
Hmm.
let it be?
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
kids don't really have that part of them that's super developed, which tells them to be judgy,
Mm.
or that they're so pure because they just came out of the womb, and they're so connected to that source that they just take it for what it is, and they're like, cool,
Hmm.
and like heck, you can tell them like you have a unicorn at home, and its name is Sparkles, and you feed it Quaker Oats
Hmm.
and they'll be like, "Wow, how big is it? What color is its horn? Like, do you
Hmm.
go on rides with it?" They won't even say, "Yeah, right." They'll be like, they'll just ask you more questions about it,
Hmm.
and I think that's a special thing.
Hmm. Yeah. Quaker oats with sprinkles on
Yeah.
top. Yeah. Yeah.
Quaker oats with sprinkles, maybe a little bit of pink food coloring in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh, gross. Yeah. Yeah, I think adults need something to believe in. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And just something to feel into too. Something to give your life some excitement.
Yeah.
Yourself to give something where you're like, you're excited for this.
A
You're
little bit of
excited for that.
little bit of mystery.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a part of what attracts people to breathwork circles as well, is
Mm.
there's the getting high part that attracts a lot of people. I know it attracted me. But then that, how our teacher sets up a really nice shrine altar kind of space, and the container becomes a bit of a magical feeling space, and that for me it opens up that part of my imagination that can really that really likes to and wants and craves some sort of mystery to believe in, and
Mm.
then yeah, and that's when a great time to introduce imagery and artwork and sound and music and storytelling. It really comes alive in those spaces. So I think with my facilitating and my leading the breath journeys and stuff, I really want to take it to almost an art show experience
Mm.
where it's not about selling a painting or anything like that. It's just um, a way to experience art in a new level where things actually come alive, and like you go to an art show, you stand there, people drink or whatever, you stand in a white room, a white square, and you look at walls and you talk, and blah, 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 blah. There's all this distortion and chaos, and good looking people checking out other good looking people and being cool, and that's cool, that's great. But what about an art show that was a breathwork circle that had an itinerary where we have a little opening ceremony, drink a cow, do the breath work, and then the artwork is all around, and then we start talking about the artwork, and then some music and dance and all that kind of thing, all in and around the art. So wall hangings, tapestries hanging from the ceiling, and not just squares on white walls with drinking. That's I want to completely transform the art show experience through breath work. It's
Mm.
ambitious. It's ambitious.
But it's
And
pushing the walls, which is
and then
great.
we'll have actors. We'll have people come in dressed as Bigfoot, or like some guy will run through the middle of the room with an alien suit on and you know, like what we'll have like a smoke machine or something.
We can
And
have
then,
some peacock calls.
yeah, 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 like just random chaos things that happen in there. The actors coming in and performing.
Yeah, that's a
Performance art, basically. That's all I'm talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're turning a breath ceremony, like you said, into that art show.
Yes,
That's
yes.
that's awesome. I love to hear where your mind's going. It's like you really want to push the boundaries. You want to take where people like where people know and people like think, but like what if it's different? What if you
Mm,
allow it to be different?
mm,
Mm,
yeah.
that's an awesome thing.
What if there's a box in the corner of the room and people keep wondering, what is that? And then, like, I don't know, halfway through or towards the end, someone jumps out of the box, like in a costume, and just runs around and with a wand and like taps people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a unicorn. What if like someone comes in with a unicorn mask on and gives everyone oats? You know?
That would be pretty cool. You can make it like it's it's like an interactive art. It's an interactive art show, like an
Yeah,
active art show, I guess,
yeah,
with
yeah,
breath, with imagery.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I
Like,
hope someone watches this and does this idea.
would you do it?
Well, I'm going to do it, but I hope
Yeah.
someone else watches it that's doesn't is not connected to us and does it in their own. I want people to do this idea.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing that I found, which has even been cool from our course as well, is learning that you have the power. Like for instance, you're gonna do it, but and like you like being able to have the liberty, be like, I can make this happen. I can make this work. And like giving yourself liberty to show up and like being able to like organize it, or even being able to know that it's okay to push the envelope. And it's encouraged. It might not be encouraged from society just because society wants to cling to comfort, but you know deep down that you that this needs to happen. Or
Mhm.
and like being able to like what if this happened? Like
Mhm.
what if we all did this? And allow it to be like like a whatever experience you like. Or one of the things, you know what this reminds me of when you talked about it? Remember the breath study that our teacher gave us?
Yeah.
That like, and they talked about the different statistics of people who had like, was it mystical experiences or like or
Yeah.
heightened experiences, and they had like a scale, and they all scientifically did this in a
Yeah.
research paper. But one of the things that was interesting is they had holotropic and conscious connected breath. However, there were some people who just were in the environment, just doing normal inhales in and out through the nose, and they
Mhm.
still had experiences
Right.
just because of like you talked about like the little setup that like our teacher
Yeah.
does, or whoever one of us does. And
Yeah.
that way it just it allows it brings that magic into the air. It brings that spark.
Yeah.
It allows that like, or some people could say it allows that portal to open. And like the breath might be a rocket ship to really dive deep into it, but you don't necessarily need to, like for instance they showed you don't even necessarily need that tool.
Mhm.
However, it's such a powerful tool that you would highly recommend.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
man, like that would be so cool. Sitting on yoga mats with everyone, drinking some cacao, maybe like doing some breath work. Then afterwards, you just dance around and like art, just like and like different art pieces like are hanging down from the ceiling.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
then it like turns into like an ecstatic dance rave.
Mhm.
And then like the floor is a canvas.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Put a drop sheet down. We all sit on the drop sheet, and then we can all start painting on the drop sheet. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I can do that
Wow.
outside in the summertime.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah,
That sounds really
yeah.
fun.
Oh, it's gonna happen, man.
Yeah.
Gonna make a space. I'm gonna make a UFO too. Yeah, I
Oh.
think. Yeah, like maybe there'll be a big, huge cardboard UFO in the middle of the breath circle, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can look through the windows at the person on the opposite side of the circle. Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now we're just getting carried away, aren't we?
We are. We're really allowing the imagination to take route. Just allow it to just allow that judgment part to sit at the door and allow us to just whoop.
Oh, I remember a really cool exercise I did when I went to a treatment center. We all got a string, a massive piece of string, and one person like walked around the room, and I forget how we did it, but oh yeah, I think they walked through a bunch of people with the string. And then eventually at the end of it, we were all woven into this big, huge mess of string.
Mm-hmm.
And like if one person moved, then the string would pull on a bunch of other people, stuff like that,
Mm.
where it brings people together, it breaks the ice, it gets movement going, and it illustrates visually the interconnectedness of everyone and how our movements affect each other, or you know, energies affect each other. Yeah, I just
Mm.
remembered that. Yeah, that's a
That's
cool
cool.
one.
Did they make you guys untangle at the end, or just let it be?
I think that was part of it, the part of the exercise too. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And then
Cool.
through that, we have to interact with others, and then it exposes our areas of discomfort and brings up any tool to basically bring up um, stuck, awkward shit, by doing awkward shit with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a ton of info out there. I could do some research and find lots more exercises, but
Yeah, I've also did this before with where there's a big group of people and everyone just holds hands and everyone just gets intertwined, and the
yeah.
goal is to like get out of the stuck mess. Like 'cause what everyone does is everyone's in a circle and they hold hands, then
Yeah.
everyone just starts going crazy, running around, making knots, intertwining, connecting, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, okay, how are you gonna get out of this?
Ah.
And it's like, how are
Okay.
you all gonna work together? And
Uh-huh.
then you all have to work together. Be like, oh, if I move this way, and like, oh no no, you're gonna pull this person's arm off if you do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like Twister or something.
It's kind of like a human snake version almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun it's cool, man. That brings me back to childhood, doing those things in like gym class,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
where it's just ways to move your body and to like connect with the people around you.
Yeah. That's what we need.
Mm-hmm. Do
Yeah.
some breath work and dodgeball.
Yeah. Yeah.
That problem, man. Gym.
Oh,
Let's
I'm
hear it.
I gotta hear like one more thing go. Let one more rip before we go. I did a led a breath journey with three people at my house. Came over,
Oh,
and
awesome.
it was on Easter Monday, and I based the theme on like rising again from the old death of the past, like we've been talking about, and becoming that new, cracking through the eggshell of that's holding you in and rising out of this eggshell. And I wove in the Easter theme, and anyone with a Google search can find out that Eostra is a pagan goddess, and the whole Easter holiday is just another repackaging of ancient pagan earth worship, right?
Hmm.
And so I didn't think I was being, like, yay, holidays, commercialization, capitalism, Christianity. I didn't think I was at all being like that. I was saying that I'm just acknowledging this time in the earth right now and trying to get back to the original mythology of it and intention of this time. And I built the ceremony around that with my words that I guided with, and with the music that I had, and it was I thought it was beautiful. Two of the people had a great time, and one person was really triggered and really angry that I
Hmm.
I mentioned a holiday, and because they really didn't like holidays. And obviously, yeah, we've totally desecrated sacred holidays and traditions and made them commercialized in our Western culture. Yeah, that's awful. Obviously, like I get you, but this was the first time I'd experienced um, someone leaving the ceremony, leaving the journey, leaving the experience of me learning how to guide someone. This is the first time I witnessed someone leaving really angry and upset, and
Hmm.
and that was a really good wake up call, a good lesson to get prepared for. Okay, if I have 20 people and they've paid, and I put all this work in, and I'm on this, feeling really good. How do I handle someone coming up and going like, I hated this, you're a bad person, fuck you. Like, how would that feel, you know have you ever wondered how that would feel to have someone really have a awful time and be mad?
I've never really thought about that. I've
Yeah.
I've That's a very valid point. Very valid point to hear if someone had that experience. I don't know.
Yeah. Like if
It's
you say something when we're guiding, like
uh-huh.
we get in the mood, right?
Yeah.
You're flowing, you're pulling from the ether, you're getting inspired, the music's going, and like I want to feel free to just share the words that come to me and the themes that come to me. And I think that learning to be a leader is being okay with embracing that and attuning ourselves to what is the real message or the real theme and what's resonating in this moment to share with this group and having the faith to like say it confidently. But it's like stand-up comedy or something. Someone's going to be offended by something. And even if
Mm-hmm.
the whole room loves the performance, that one person that says, "Oh, that really hurt me," like, yeah, that's another reason I think I should do stand-up is to learn how to be a better leader and a space holder, you know, not
Mm-hmm.
not to see how funny I am or if I can have a career at it, but just to get used to not losing my spirit and my confidence when that one person feels really bad because of their own thing that has nothing to do with me or anyone else in the circle, but they bring their own anger and their own issues in and not letting that affect the container, how to absorb that and not let it affect the whole.
Yeah. How did you do it? How did you handle the situation?
Well, I said, do you want to talk about it? Is there something that you want to say about it? And like, can you help me understand what bothered you? And that just kind of made them more agitated. And and so I said sorry, and then we all kind of made a few lighthearted jokes about, so are we doing one for Christmas and Halloween too? Which wasn't cool. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. So
Hmm. I hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like you got the show must go on, even if
Yeah.
someone. And the thing is like a lot of people don't realize this, but like our teacher has told us, like your trigger. It's not like It's not your fault that it happened to you, but it's your responsibility to manage it and learn to overcome it with your
Yeah.
triggers
Yeah.
and learning to figure out how you're gonna go about that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Huh.
it'll happen again, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it'll happen, and it's a learning experience every time. To see what comes up for others, to see what even comes up for yourself when that happens,
Yeah.
because that's the thing as well. Because that could even trigger you, and it's like, whoa, like, how can I
Yeah.
take a step back and hold a level head here?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I
Hmm.
guess it did trigger me a little bit. Uh, and I guess it was that part of me that wants everyone to be okay, and
Hmm.
then feels like, oh, I I'm bad, I failed. They didn't understand. They took me the wrong way. Like I'm on your side. Like you misunderstood me.
Hmm.
Like I think that's how I felt. Yeah.
Hmm. I hear you. I hear you with that.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think it's a powerful thing for people to hear about.
Mm. Do you think it's a good idea to do the whole disclaimer, like if the journey is based on an Easter theme, saying, uh, okay, so just so everyone knows, this is what I'm going to be using as the guiding theme, and the words I will share have to do with this. If anyone is offended by anything, like I don't believe in doing that. because
Mm-hmm.
it's like sabotages the whole experience because now you've planted that seed in them of, oh, well, maybe I should fucking make sure that there's something doesn't bother me because, oh, actually, now that you mention it, I don't like that, like
Mm-hmm.
it's an invitation to for negativity. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I want to say, if anyone's not comfortable with this, like this is what's going to happen. Like you're coming to a rap show. Do you like rap? You know,
Mm-hmm.
or this is a comedy show. We make jokes about people. Are you okay with jokes? Like, or this is a burlesque show. There's going to be titties. Do you like tits? Are you okay with tits?
Yeah.
Is that
Mm,
okay to say tits? You know, like I don't know.
yeah. I think one thing our teacher has done, which has been good, is just like, did the people like even for instance, I don't think the disclaimer is necessary, but
No,
even just telling people the name of like what of like
right.
for instance, like today's ceremony is going to be like I know one was like divine remembrance. Or
Yeah.
today's ceremony is going to be based on like say like the full moon and
Mm,
like awakening this part of ourselves. Or like it's going to be about Easter and we're going to talk about like rebirth. Like or like rising from this. And it's like something simple as that like okay, got it? And then I like for instance, you can't control a person's trigger. You have no idea that triggers them, and you can have all different types of people that come in, and they just because of their different experiences, they like different things get brought up. But I feel
mm,
like as long as you inform people, so that way, like that's the thing. Like it's kind of like the same thing as like letting people know like they're if they're coming to a rap show, they better like rap.
mm,
Like that's the thing. Like if you're coming to a breathwork ceremony and this is the topic, like be open to it or accept it.
mm, mm,
Be open, like but if it triggers you, I mean it triggers you. I can be there to support you if you want support, but ultimately it's good. It's your own responsibility as well too. Like that's the thing. Like you said, like you want to save everyone, but you can't. But you got to learn to be okay with that. Like
mm,
you said and
mm,
identified. Like that's
mm,
something I would do. It's like something I've done in different breath ceremonies is if I have a certain intention or topic, I will say that forthright. Like once I did a breath session with a buddy and it was adventure theme. And it was
mm,
like going on like an adventure through the entire time. And
mm,
and it was like, yeah, like we're like that's kind of gonna be like the theme today. And if you would like to make your own intention based on this, you can. So that I don't know. That I guess that's my little 2 cents on that topic. But I appreciate you sharing that because I think it's a very good learning experience.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well,
Well, time for breakfast.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
had breakfast?
Not yet. I've just had
No.
some water today.
Yeah.
I've had some
Yeah.
water and a cold dip and a hot shower.
Yeah. Me too. And a cup of decaf. Yeah.
Cup of decaf.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to London Drugs and get some Kicking Horse decaf right now.
Nice.
But I'm trying to fast today, but my stomach is just growling so hard at me right now. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll make it, but
It's funny. I had the exact same thought today as well. I'm like, well, I could fast if I want to.
yeah.
I might take a little, I think I might take a little micro today as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a little and then do it fasted and then just see what comes up, you know?
Yeah.
Sit with it.
Yeah.
But we'll
Uh,
see. We'll see what
yeah.
comes up for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna try and fast.
Okay, sweet.
Okay. Thanks again, bro.
Thanks again, Peter. This is an awesome time.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Okay, until next time. Peacock out.
Peacock out. Yeah,
Woo!
not your cock out. Peacock out.
Yes.
All right.